that all of you are back, but still we'll wait for a couple of minutes so that everyone is back from the breakout rooms.
Welcome back to the main event. Hope you had a wonderful time discussing with each other and the moderators. Drawing from the appreciations expressed by the child delegates in the breakout session, we know that humanity is barreling towards a ghastly future of mass extinctions, health and food crisis, resources-based conflicts, mass displacement, and constant climate-induced disruption to society. One that can only be prevented if world leaders start talking environmental threats seriously. That is why we have gathered here today, to make leaders aware of the doomsday that will befall on soon if we do not do anything about it. However, remember the recommendations you will be presented to the UN and the other international agencies in November 2021, and this can potentially change the future. With this, let us move to the plenary part of our summit.
I would now like to call upon one representative from each group. First, I would like to invite Speranza from Holistic Development Group.
Hello. Am I audible?
Hello. Do we have Speranza here?
Yes, I'm right here. Am I audible?
Yes. Please go on. Please share your summary and learning from the breakout session.
Right. So today we heard from each of the participants about the climatic issues and their own recommendations about the country allocated to them. And then we had discussions about our personal, what change or what commitment we would take on with our own personal lives. And I think that's all that was mainly discussed in the breakout room today. Thank you.
Thank you. I would now call Umang from the same group to add to his learnings and takeaways.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
So we learned a lot of things. First of all, the involvement of students in activism and how children can contribute at their homes to help out the environmental crisis. Ignore my cat, I'm sorry. And the second thing we learned was how we could how innovation really helps out and can contribute to environmental justice and things on the lines of that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. With this, I invite the representatives from the group on vulnerable group and communities. So first we have Vatsal.
Good evening, everybody. In our breakout session, we spoke about how increase in greenhouse emissions is contributing to increase in temperature. due to which the vulnerable communities are frequently experiencing severity of droughts, floods, and the droughts and floods have a lot of effect on agriculture and fishery and water resources, all these other sectors. And then after that, we also spoke about the challenges and hardships that are being faced by humans and wild animals. How, due to heat waves and rising temperatures and rising sea levels, uh, their habitats are threatened. There is a constant threat of losing their habitat, and it can also cause wreck and havoc on people's livelihood and communities. After that, we spoke about some of the solutions that can be followed, like we can identify the vulnerable populations since they are the ones who are affected the most. And we must also try and invest in renewable energy and try to switch to sustainable transport. Thank you.
Thank you, Vatsala. So please adhere to the time limit since we have time constraint. Now I'll call Lindivi from the same group.
Linduvi, are you there?
Excuse me. Lidina is having problems with the internet, but she can come and speak with my computer.
Sure, ma'am.
Aileen from our
Ma'am, can you call Lindivi to your system so that we can all hear Lindivi?
Until she comes, I would now like to invite you to take some time and ask yourself if your heart seeks to be the next Ridhima Pandey, the next Greta Thunberg, or the next Tim. If you are inspired to act, we invite you to download our Asserting Rights app now and earn a certificate as an Earth Proactivist issued by 9is Mine and UNICEF. Download the Asserting Rights app from Play Store today. Besides, one of the most important steps you can take is to talk about it. Have conversations around climate emergency and train yourself in the science of climate change and earth spirituality. The link would be shared in the chat box. Please download the app and be a child and earth group activist. Now, I would also like to know if Lindavi is here with us to share her takeaways. If not, we'll move on to the next group that was on protection and safety of children and vulnerable communities. I'll invite Srishti to come ahead and talk about the recommendations from your group.
So before Srishti comes over, I would like to remind all our delegates that only 90 seconds have been allotted to all our speakers. So all the delegates have 90 seconds to share their learnings and thoughts from the breakout rooms. We have our timekeeper Aileen with us, who will be ringing a bell in case you do not adhere to the time limit. So 90 seconds is your time limit.
Srishti?
Yes.
Yes, please come forward and share the recommendations.
Okay. So today in the breakout room, we talked about Australia's suffering, about bushfires, and Philippines' current climate is like running with hurricanes, a lot of hurricanes. And on Australia, the recent climate is warm and the summer it's longer and it's too hot. Thank you.
I request Srishti Khushwant from Group number 3, that is protection and safety. Srishti Khushwant to come and share. Srishti, are you here with us?
Yeah.
Yes, Srishti.
Actually, in our group, we talk how Manisha in the memes talk about some things which are very inspiring for all of us. And as we see and talked about, India is a vast and children will take small steps to improve our environment. It is talked about the Meghalaya and the current situation in the Meghalaya in India, where there is illegal mining.
So I think we couldn't hear Srishti completely due to internet glitches. So Srishti, I request you to type down in the chat box. Srishti, you can type down in the chat box. Yeah. And I call Anirudh Das from the same group. Anirudh, over to you.
We in a group have discussed how we could use technology to better combat the climate crisis in globe. We also have discussed the problems that of child labor and the rampant problem of corruption that is directly responsible to. Excuse me, could you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
I was saying that we have also discussed the rampant corruption and the connection of corruption with child labor and the economic problems of a country. We also discussed how we could take smaller steps, even we children could take smaller steps to better understand and fight climatic problems. And we could even be the voice of other children to fight for their own rights. Thank you.
Thanks, Anirudh. That was indeed energizing, and we must take small steps to ensure that we do our bit for ensuring our action towards climate change.
And now, let's move on the next group, participation in dialogues and movement demanding change. I request Anna from group participation in dialogue and movement demanding change to come forward and please unmute yourself and discuss with us your recommendation. May I request Anna to please come forward and unmute yourself. Anna, are you there? If Anna is not there, may I request Santiago to come forward and unmute yourself and discuss with us your recommendation.
Hi, yeah. So, well, we talked about the sort of crude and tangible impacts of climate change, such as floods and rising sea levels, and what we as individuals can do about it. In the face of natural disasters and the scale of climate change, you can sometimes feel powerless. But changing our lifestyles and educating ourselves is what we concluded was the best thing we could do. Some of the changes to our habits we discussed were the reduction of meat intake, reduction, reusing, and recycling, and opting for cleaner methods of energy and transportation. And as we asked each other questions, we also pondered, why do governments show themselves to be so reluctant in the face of change? We concluded that governments have a misconception on sustainable methods, seeing them as non-profitable and a danger to the economy. And they do not prioritize the well-being of the people and the environment, putting their gross domestic product over everything else. We also talked about the struggles of children as activists and how noticeable the different mindsets of different generations are, and the difficulty of educating each other on the whole issue. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and that was indeed insightful and wholesome. Okay, Neelam, it's time to make the poll and make the summit more interesting. So, could you help us participants know that what is now the time for?
So now it's a time for poll o'clock. Let's have a poll and see how many of our participants are aware of environmental rights of the children. So the first question is, Montreal Protocol is related to first, ozone layer, second, extinction of species, third, endangered birds, or fourth, none of the above three.
The next question says largest share of mangrove is found in 1. South Africa, 2nd India, 3rd Argentina, 4th Indonesia. Type in your answers.
Third question is, what is the most basic right of all children? First, the right to grow in a safe environment. Second, lead a healthy life. Third, develop positive future perspective. And fourth, all of the above. Which one do you think? Please answer it on the chat box.
The fourth question says, what does UNCRC stand for? Fill the poll quickly. And our fifth question says, what is the right of a child? Right to education, right to have self-home, right to have medicine, or all of the above. The time is getting over. Please fill the poll quickly. And we have the results. We have almost 70% of you answering the correct answer for the first question, that is ozone layer. And for the second question, we have 50% of you answering the right answer, that is India. For the third, yes, most of you believe that all of the rights are most basic for children. For the fourth question, 46% of you have answered as United Nations Convention on the Right of the Child, which is the correct answer. And fifth, what is the right of a child? 74% of you have said that all of the above. And I was definitely expecting more percentage because we have all rights from education, self-home, medicine. So here was the poll time.
And now I would like to invite Unique from group number 5 on governmental responsibility to come ahead to talk about the recommendation from your group.
Good afternoon, everybody. My group covered a lot of government responsibilities, such as uh, such, such as the government applying certain rules and regulations to reduce the amount of deforestation. We should also, our government should also try to stop using fossil fuels and switch to more to renewable resources such as solar energy or
Unique, are you done with your recommendation?
I believe he is having some technical issues. So we would like to move on to the next group, and we'll come back to him after he's there with the statement.
Yeah. I am having some technical difficulty.
Please give your concluding remark to the delegates. Unique.
Yes.
Mute yourself. That's okay. So, yeah, that's okay. We believe that you have some issues and background noise as well. So, moving on to the next group on the environmental rights of children, I would like to call Krishang to share the recommendations. Krishang, please.
Good evening, everybody. Hello, my name is Krishang, and I went to the environmental rights group. Over there, everybody came forward and we discussed about the problems and situations that we are facing in worldwide. All the delegates were very active and they came forward to talk about the respective countries, the problems and the solutions which can be done. We all showed concerns toward the existential crisis that we will be facing in the coming years. We talked about child rights, environmental rights, and a lot of these other things, how to relate them, why are they important, and why are they related to climate change. We had a talk not only about these, but a lot of other things that are related to climate change. It was such an honor to see that even the observers and attendees were coming forward to give their remarks and to share their concerns on this climate change. We all talk that all rights are equally important and they are interdependent. Environmental rights are human rights, and people's livelihood and health are dependent upon it. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishan. That was well summarized. Also, Unique, if you can hear us, since there are background voices, so we would like you to type in your thoughts in the chat box so that we all can refer to them. And moving on, we have Ayanda from Group 6, from the same group on environmental rights of children. Ayanda, please unmute yourself and share the recommendations.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ayanda Larissa Saraiva. I'm 13 years old. We talked about, basically, we talked about, we were talking about how can we change the climate changes and how can we help the kids that are in need and make them have a safe and better home, and what we can do to help them. We also talked about what were our passions and what we wanted to be when we grow up, and there were many interesting topics and about the other countries. Thank you.
Now I would like to invite Zidane from group number 7 on changing business standards to come ahead to talk about recommendation from your group. Zidane, please unmute yourself and discuss with us your recommendation. If Zidane is not there, may I ask Rishika from the same group to please come ahead and talk about the recommendation from your group.
Hi everyone. In our group, we talked about the worsening conditions in the countries, forest fires, and how climate is affecting people so much. And we talked about the steps that can be taken both individually and on school levels. And one thing I'd like to highlight is one person said that environment is our right and we need to act on it. We need to speak up. Thank you.
Thank you, Rishika. Thank you so much for that. And last but not the least, we have the group 8 that was on COP26. I request Shaira to please unmute yourself and discuss with us your recommendations. Shaira, please.
Yes, ma'am. In the breakout room I was, we talked about many general environmental concerns we had. We talked about each person's allocated country, and we also talked about children's rights. Every children needs education. Education is the key for us to interact with our environment. We had the subtopic that was children's rights. It was such an amazing thing. Even some of our delegates, they gave their opinion, and it was fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaira. And now I'd invite Kevin to share his recommendations and takeaways.
So basically, we discussed about different topics such as clean water, and then the normal one, plantation of trees, electric cars, collaborations with government. And the most important ones I would say from that group is we should look to a country known as Tuvalu. They've reached nearly 60% of emission green energy. And that we should also reduce. We were also talking about green premium as a concept, and we were talking about how we can maybe reduce that. We were talking about innovation, research, collaboration between governments. So those are the main takeaways from my group's discussions.
Thanks, Kevin. Wow, so many recommendations in just one day. I'm sure our documenters, Dr. Gurpreet and Preeti, have their hands full. So finally, we have come to the end of the session. We will meet again tomorrow for the grand culmination of the ERth Summit at 5:30 p.m. IST or 12 GMT. The occasion would be graced by none other than Deirdre Boyd, the United Nations Resident Coordinator, amongst other such distinguished guests. And the ceremony would be filled with interesting presentations and exciting performances. Please be there on time in the closing ceremony and be sure to mark a new beginning of your journey of making the world a better place. Be sure to bring all your family, friends, and all your acquaintances.
Just Rights Kids Award is back this year. Children from across the world have now begun standing from their rights and for those of their peers, especially the lost, the last, and the unheard. The Just Rights Kids Award recognizes the voice and efforts of children in India and honors children who are proactively working on climate change, inclusion, the, the UN Global Goals, also called Sustainable Development Goals, and child rights with a special emphasis on the most vulnerable children. The awardees will be awarded the cash prize against a proposal and plan to further the cause of child and earth rights. This award at present this award at present is only for Indian participants. However, we hope that it will turn into a Nobel Peace Prize for children, celebrated worldwide. Kindly follow us on our social media handles to learn more.
I I would also like to tell you that Summit is live streaming on our YouTube channel as well. It is called 9 is Mine, and for our IDs, please refer to here on our backdrop. You will be able to see our IDs, that is 9SM9 and EPratyay for all our social media handles. Now, we will keep an open session for child attendees and our adult observers. You can raise your hand and we will invite you one by one to share your learnings and recommendations. Kindly raise your hands so that we can recognize the speakers.
Hello. I have to go somewhere at 8:15. So how long will it be? The next call that we're having right now.
So it will be according to the official timing. However, the floor will be open for the open discussion. So you are free to leave after the official timing.
Okay. Thank you.
I can see Mr. Cuthbert's hand raised. Sir, please go on.
Oh, so to begin with, I've learned some of the other rights of children that I didn't know and made a few recommendations like the government to avoid unnecessary means of deforestation and probably to practice afforestation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I can see two of our delegates have raised their hands. Srishti, would you like to speak? Srishti?
Yeah, actually, I learned that we have solutions for everything. But if we are not trying it out, it's not worth. Small effort means a lot, I guess. And we should all understand our responsibility as a young generation so that a future generation could enjoy and make this. And if we are able to understand our responsibility and make this planet a wonderful place so that a future generation could enjoy and live happily. So we should always take out our time to give something to our environment as environment has given us a lot.
Surely. Thank you so much, Srishti, for that thought. I can see Tom and Harvey raising their hands. Please go ahead.
Hi, I'm Tom. And I'm Harvey. We learned today that children have environmental rights. One of their rights is that they have the right to education, to be educated all about climate change and what they can do to help the planet. Thank you.
Harvey, any of your thoughts?
No, I think Tom covered mostly everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Masu, please go ahead.
Yes, so I learned a lot. What I learned is that we as children can do a lot and contribute a lot to the environment out there. We can raise awareness at our place and we can change the whole world if we want, and it is not impossible. Everything is possible, so we can do it. And I learned how we can do it, and I also learned about different countries and their climate issues, climate problems, and yes, and it was so informative.
Thank you so much, and I think we all have learned a lot from this session. I can see David's hand raised. David, please.
Thank you. So in our session today, we learned about, excuse me, environmental rights that without proper laws on environmental rights, adults can actually get away with their wrongdoings, like polluting the environment, for polluting the environment, which is not good for our future as youth. And that if we have proper laws in the government, in our respective governments, against climate change, then we can actually sue the government against courts, in courts, sorry, in courts, and yeah, we can sue governments in courts and actually win. So I'd like to add that we've been killing our planet, and there's no planet B. We can't undo the mistakes of the past, but as this generation of conscious citizens, we can make things right. This generation, our generation, can make the systematic changes that will slow the planet from warming, and we can make small changes in our daily lives and make use of and and take small measures to reduce the impact on the climate in our everyday lives. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. And I think I can recall one quote that there's enough for everyone's need, but not for greed. And it's high time that we start acting and working forward for the same. So I'll repeat that all our adult attendees and observers and child attendees are free to raise their hands and speak their thoughts. While they raise their hands, I can see Ananya raising her hand. Ananya?
Yeah, thank you, Neha. And firstly, foremost thing is that my experience of this Global Earth Summit had been amazing. So, as being a moderator for the breakout room, it gave me immense pleasure to hear about the drastic recommendations that people and young population from all over the world had been pouring in to resolve the climate issues that we have. It certainly gave my heart a hope that now we can look forward to a better climate if we all pledge that by our initiatives we will go forward and make this world definitely a better place to live in. So thank you everyone, and my experience had been great.
Thank you for keeping it short and sharing your learnings. And it is so heartening to see Linda's response. And she is from Mozambique. And I would really appreciate if you could also fill in your consultation form and give your thoughts in that form so that it can go forward for documentation and further to the world leaders, to the COP summit, to the COP26. So now I invite Vipin Rai. Sir, please go ahead.
First of all, educational institutes and educational programs increase children and
Vipin, I think you're facing some network issue. I think you're facing some technical glitch. We cannot hear you.
Right.
We cannot hear
are
you.
you able to hear me now?
Your voice is breaking. Yeah, your voice is breaking. I would suggest if you could please rejoin, and then we can hear you back.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Now we can hear.
No, still breaking. Please rejoin, and then we'll surely hear you. I can see Adarsh's hand raised. Adarsh?
Yes, this summit was most informative for me, that I came across many words like biodegradable plastics that can be degraded in water. So this This is also, and I learned more about three mantras like reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Thank you for highlighting on the 3 R's for all of us. And I would request the adult observers and child attendees to please share their feedback and thoughts by raising their hands. Seeing none, do we have with Vipin Rai back?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Hello. Right, ma'am. I just want to share a thought. We should ensure that program improves children's understanding of environmental issues and strengthen their capacity to respond to environmental changes. In to young learners also from the class from
I'm sorry, your voice was still breaking. I'd really appreciate if you could put your thought on the chat box. Thank you everyone for giving your inputs for the session. And finally, I would re-emphasize on the fact that you all have to fill the consultation form. The link would be put in the chat box. Please refer to it and fill it as soon as possible. And again, we would like you all to see you tomorrow. It will be a great session with a lot of fun and information. Please join in with all your friends and family. Finally, I would now like to invite our director, Steve Rocha, to address the audience and share his closing remarks.
Thank you, Neha. And thank you to all the delegates present here. Particularly thank you, Neha and Neelam, for anchoring and moderating this entire session. You did it with such great ease and such professionalism. Thank you, the two of you. I'd like to begin with a quote that I heard probably about 15 years ago now from Bono. And he said, today we have the solutions, we have the science, and we have the cash. But do we have the will? I think I'm hearing young people saying we don't want words anymore, we want action. And I'm glad that that energy is towards action and towards delivery. And I think you just have to keep your governments and your duty bearers accountable. So thank you for that. I'm also reminded of, was it Nelson Mandela or was it Archbishop Desmond Tutu, who said, if everyone who wishes to see the end of poverty, I'm making an adaptation now in the context of today's program, if everyone who wishes to see the end of poverty, I'm adding climate emergencies and discrimination, inhuman discrimination, speaks out, the noise will be deafening. Politicians and world leaders will have to listen. So I'm glad that young people like you are taking the onus in your hands and saying, look, we may not be voters today, but we have a voice and we're ensuring that our voice is heard at every impactful forum. What we're going to do at Pratik and at Ninus Mind is to really provide you a little toehold into that little conference rooms of negotiations. Say, our voice matters, and can that little voice of yours be amplified so that politicians and world leaders who are in little closed-in rooms and hi-fi 5-star hotels, 7-star hotels, deciding the world's future, will listen to the voices of a Manisha who lives in a vulnerable community, and all of you who are facing extinction of species, as well as the people of Kiribati, for example, who are going to be, whose entire homeland and nation is going to be destroyed. We want those voices to impact these world decisions and these world conferences. So, like to emphasize once again that this is a process and not an event. So tomorrow is not the closure of the event. Tomorrow is just a celebration of what we've heard in the last 2 days. The process continues. We're going to ask you to come back to us once a month, and Gurpreet and Preeti will place before you the document that's emerging and ask for your clarifications and whether you're endorsing what's emerging. We really want this to be your voices, not ours. We are not firing from your shoulders. We want you to actually place before us what you really would like to see as a document placed before COP26, and also a document before the UN and the Office of the High Commissioner. Please don't forget to fill up the consultation form. It's very important for us because that's going to be the crux of our reports. I heard of the 3 R's being reiterated, but I think what I'm hearing very strongly over both the morning and evening sessions is there's a 4th R that we have to vote with. It's the power to refuse. Refuse any product, refuse any service, refuse any policy that does not stand in sync with environmental rights of children. Walk with your feet, vote with your choices. And as Manisha invited us to begin with small choices, the market researchers will pick up a growing trend that people are going in more for vegan food, more for public transport, and policies will have to change. They will have no choice. So I want to reiterate that. Tomorrow is a major program for us. We've got the UN resident coordinator coming in, along with hopefully the UNICEF lead in India. We also have a representative from the Irish government present there. Hopefully, we'll have somebody from the European Union too present there. These are people who will now be able to use your voices to represent them at various global forums. So please be there in full strength. Bring in your parents, bring in your friends and your families, bring in your schools. So the invite will be sent to you by your moderator, by your mentor, sorry. And please share it with as many people. Your voices must be heard. So please do so for tomorrow. We need your help in amplifying it for tomorrow. Use the backdrops provided to you. And a wonderful presentation in all. Thanks to the delegates for being here. I know it's a little long today, but today we wanted to give all of you enough adequate time to speak. In fact, after the entire program ends, we will still keep it open for you to add on to your presentations and your inputs, because your voice does matter. Thanks to the delegates, thanks to the child attendees who came in the morning and are here today again in the evening. Tomorrow we just have one session in the evening, so all of you will be delegates if you've spoken. Our mentors will come back to you to tell you who's speaking officially on tomorrow's platform, to give everybody a sense of what happened in these last 2 days and what's going to happen in the next few months. Thanks to the panelists, our young panelists, Manisha Ram and Manna Jeevan, for presenting for us so emphatically the voices of young people who feel the impact of climate change, but who are not willing to just twiddle their thumbs at their home and bemoan the emergency, but they're willing to go out and stretch themselves to say, our voice matters and we'll do whatever we can because one voice, one and one makes a million. Thanks a lot, Manisha and Jeevan. And Manisha Ram, Manisha Jeevan. Thanks to our hosts, Neelam and Neha. Thanks to our moderators and scribes. You were amazing. I popped into all the groups and was so glad that most groups, the adult moderators and animators had to take a back seat because all of you from different schools, Salman Public School to Chikona City, I believe there's Thrives Good and Frank Anthony School. Thank you for being with us for all the practice sessions and doing a great job at your moderating. We're looking forward to your summaries because your summaries are going to be what's presented to our documenters. Thanks, Gurpreet and Preeti, for being the fly on the wall and being the first process of documenting all our information and valuable sharings. Thanks to Adam, who's our sign interpreter, and really it becomes a symbol for us of inclusion. I know at this platform we've largely had many people who had resources of internet and connectivity, And therefore, in India, for example, 80% of our population doesn't have access such as this. And I know it seems like a symbol of disengagement and a symbol of exclusion. But I would like all of you to help us, Ninus, at Ninus Mind, to link up to the most marginalized voice in your community. And also listen to the voice of the koalas as well as the animals and trees outside your window and in your mainland. Bring them in here, please. We need your help with that. So go back and become leaders in your own local communities. Bring your struggles, your challenges, and your issues into this platform. We really want this to become yours. We would also like your help in designing the program in the future. We really want this Earth Summit to become an off, for, and by children platform. We hope it will grow into a children's parliament, which is a little bit different from a summit that's kind of once in a while. But a children's parliament is groups of children in their neighborhoods talking consistently of programs, of problems, and finding solutions in the local community. So we'd like it to evolve into that. We're going to call that the Earth Parliament. This is the Earth Summit. And thanks to Edmund Rice International. Thank you, Tino, if you're here, and the entire team in Geneva and New York for supporting us consistently with this platform to making it really more global. ER stands for Earth Rights, but those of you who are in the Edmund Rice Network would also see the link of this visionary who looked beyond his borders and saw that there's need for education in this time for children across the world, and not just private education, but really to make it more and more inclusive and global. Thank you, ERI. Thanks finally to our staff, Anisha, George, and Sunil Gupta, and all the team members of Pratik. This would not be possible with an amount of hours, without the amount of hours you put in, right? Late last night, early this morning, and consistently throughout, you've been at this, providing all the technical support in the backgrounds, preparing scripts, giving feedback to people. You were amazing and look forward to more energy for tomorrow. But this was not very possible without every Pratik staff members present here. Thank you to all. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow in full force. We've had about 100 participants this morning, another 150 this evening, but we're hoping that tomorrow we have 1,000 filled because your voice matters. And also it's going to be telecasted on YouTube. Go back to that YouTube channel if you want to recall what was said in groups and what was said at this platform and by panelists and by you. Please share the links with everybody and help us make this, convert this from a summit through a process to a parliament and into finally a movement where no one will be able to sideline your voices and child rights and earth rights become non-negotiable. Thank you. Not too sure if we're waiting for Neha and Anish and Anisha and Neelam to introduce the next section. Yeah, Neha, go ahead.
First of all, thank you so much, sir, for addressing the audience. And now I would like Anisha Di to give the instructions for tomorrow. And over to you, Di.
So good evening, everyone. Tomorrow is the culmination of the Earth Summit. We do not finish the process here, but we will culminate this particular summit tomorrow. It is at 5:30 p.m. IST. So 5:30 p.m. IST, we start the culmination ceremony of the Earth Summit tomorrow. We will have quite eminent dignitaries from all over the world. So all of you are requested to join in with your friends, families, and please share this word with everyone so that a lot of people come and join us tomorrow. We'll be making presentations. Some of you young delegates will be presenting all your learnings and recommendations to the dignitaries tomorrow. You will be updated soon about it, that who is going to be the representative tomorrow. The next thing that I would request you to do is to fill up the consultation form. So the consultation form has been circulated on the chat box. I ask my team to do it again. So please put in your recommendations in the consultation form and send it back to us by tomorrow. If at all you are not able to send it due to some reasons, please send it in the next 2 days, so that all your recommendations, all your problems in relation to climate change are incorporated into a report that is being prepared by our team, and it will be presented to the world leaders at COP26 later from 30th October to the 12th of November. So all of you are requested to fill up the consultation form and send it to us by tomorrow, if not in the next 2 days. So please do so. I also request you all, if you do not have any privacy issues, to put on your videos. If you can put on your videos, we can take a group picture. So we can take a group picture if you all can put on your videos. Jeevan, I request you to take a picture for all of us.
If any of you are struggling with the backdrop that's required for tomorrow, please consult your moderators and your mentors. It'd be nice to have your official backdrops for tomorrow. And also learn to rename yourselves as required by today. Tomorrow, all of you will be delegates. There are some attendees and some moderators, but please follow the code we recommend. Keep smiling while I'm talking, because I'm giving Jeevan some time to take photographs of all the various screens.
So the pictures are clicked, but you can still keep smiling.
Keep smiling as a tribute to Jeevan and Kunal and the technical team. They've been doing amazing jobs in the background, ensuring there's no technical glitches and all the presentations. So thanks a lot, Jeevan and Kunal, Anmol, for your technical support.
Also, as it was mentioned by Brother Steve regarding the backdrops, we've given you all backdrops on a Google Drive. It has been sent to your emails. There's a link. In case you have some struggle, please write to us. We wish all of you to have those official backgrounds tomorrow for the culmination ceremony. But in case any of you are struggling with it, please get back to us on the same email ID.
Also to send us your submissions that you've actually presented today. That's going to be put together in a booklet that Neha, our young advocate from Salvan Public School, Rajendra Nagar, is going to put together for us. So there's a document put together in terms of a report, but just a process document, a process report put together by Neha on all your submissions, and all your reports will come in there. So please take the time to write down your introductions, to give us a photograph that you would like us to document, and finally to give us your submissions. A longer version will also do, but don't make it too long for people and make it impossible for people to read. So keep it short, but if you need to go beyond the 120 words time limit, you may go ahead with all your recommendations. This is important for us as your voice representation at COP26. Thank you. Tomorrow also we're going to do a summary of the entire thing through music. So there are two groups of children, one beatboxing and rapping the song together. And we're going to release a fourth verse of our Rights on Track tomorrow. But we're also going to have a song that summarizes all your photographs and pictures of the days. So please come in and bring in your friends to understand what you've been doing over the last few days and listening to your recommendations. We're really banking on you to really ensure that there's a house full tomorrow, because it will be important for the UN and the UNICEF to see that children are really serious about climate change, and they brought in everybody possible to the platform. I kept saying this morning, bring in your moms, dads, uncles, aunties, schools, but don't forget to bring in your kittens and your puppies too, because they would represent really the impact of the last voice that's not heard. And you may notice also that sometimes your own pets struggle with climatic changes. So this is a symbol what's happening there, not the best symbol, but the wildlife would probably be the most impacted by that, and the various species, but at least a symbol of listening into the last voice. Thank you. So once again, we keep the forum open. People are free to leave if they want to, but if anybody wants to ask any questions and have the time to voice something, a concern, children or adults, everyone's all free to share their views. You may also want to give us feedback in terms of the process, in terms of the technical flow, or any other thing that you want to suggest to us.